those present in the chamber, please remain standing until the colors are posted.
Colors. Color guard. Halt. Present. Art. Order. Art. Present. Art.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Color guard. Order. Arms. Color guard. Post. 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 Color guard. Arch. Arch. Step. Color guard. March side. Arch. Halt. On.
This morning, Gianna and Valencia Lujan from Escuela de Guadalupe in Denver, and Sienna and Asher Wilcox from Woodrow Wilson Academy in Westminster will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may all be seated. Thank you, Cadets Benjamin Hunt, Cage Jones, Rosa Henson, and Sarah Ramos of the William Mitchell High School Air Force Junior Reserve Office Training Corps Color Guard for presenting the colors today. And also, on behalf of the entire House, thank you to the wonderful Belen de Leon, the 9 News meteorologist, for honoring us with your beautiful voice this morning. We have some opening day business to conduct. If there is no objection, Marilyn Edens will be appointed as Chief Clerk. Communications from Secretary of State, Mr. Randall. Okay. The Chief Clerk has received the resignation letters from Representative Diane Mitch Bush, House District 26, Representative Clarice Navarro, House District 47, and Representative Dan Nordberg, House District 14. The Chief Clerk has also received communications from the Secretary of State concerning the election by vacancy committee of Representative Dylan Roberts to fill the vacancy in House District 26 created by the resignation of Representative Diane Mitch Bush. And also of Representative Judy Ryer to fill the vacancy in House District 47 created by the resignation of Representative Clarice Navarro. The vacancy created by the resignation of Representative Nordberg, House District 14, has yet to be filled. If there is no objection, the documents will not be read at length as they will be printed in full in the journal. Representative Roberts was given the oath of office in the House chamber on November 13, 2017. Representative Rare was given the oath of office in the House chamber on December 18, 2017. And Representative Roberts and Ryer's names have been added to the roll call of the House. Mr. Randall, please call the roll.
Representatives Arndt. Becker J. Becker K. Beckman. Benavides. Bridges. Buck.
Honored to be here.
Buckner. Carver. Catlin. Coleman. Covarrubias. Danielson. Escar. Everett. Exum. Foote. Garnett. Janal. Gray. Hamner. Hanson. Harrod. Hooten. Humphrey. Jackson. Kennedy. Kraft Tharp. Landgraf. Lawrence. Lebsock. Lee. Leonard. Lewis. Liston. Lontine. Lundeen. McKean. McLaughlin. Melton. Michelson Janae. Neville. Pabon. Pedersen. Rankin. Ransom. Ryer. Roberts. Rosenthal. Sane. Salazar. Sias. Singer. Thurlow. Valdez.
Good morning, Colorado.
Van Winkle. Weissman. Willett. Williams. Wilson. Winter. Wist. Young. Madam Speaker.
Fired up and ready to go. Present. With 64 members present, 0 excused, 0 absent, and 1 vacancy, we have a quorum. Members, we're going to have the new members have the opportunity to do announcements and introductions. So, announcements and introductions. Who would like to go first? That's okay. Represent. I know it's a lot to learn. It's a lot to learn. A lot going on this first day. Representative Breyer. There you go.
Thank you very, very much, Representative Becker. I can't tell you how honored I am to be here. I did not know that it was going to be like this, or I would have had some guests. My husband is a truck driver, so he's on the road. My sister's across the street at a Department of Education meeting, so I'm here by myself, but I'm not here by myself. I'm here with all the amazing Coloradoans that are here and all the guests. And being a fifth-generation Coloradoan, this is unbelievable. I think about my mom and my dad who are both gone, my grandparents, my great-grandparents. I can't tell you how honored and how ready I am to help in making our state the best it can be. And I'm so grateful that I get to work with all these amazing people. Thank you so much.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Speaker Duran. Colleagues, it is an honor to be here, to have this opportunity to serve the state that I love and work with all of you to try and make the lives of Coloradans a little bit better. This session will be the privilege of a lifetime, so looking forward to it, and thank you for the welcome.
Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Good morning, Madam Speaker.
Madam Majority Leader.
Welcome back, everyone. I move that a committee of 3 be appointed to notify the Senate that the House is organized and ready for business.
Seeing no objection to the motion, Representatives Pedersen, who will serve as the chairwoman, Salazar, and Lundin will notify the Senate that the House is organized and ready for business. And please let the Senate know that we are not going to wait for them all day, so we expect them to move quickly and efficiently. Majority Leader Becker.
You're already making some pretty tall demands there, Madam Speaker.
You got to shoot for the highest, right?
I move that a committee of 3 be appointed to notify the governor that the House is organized and ready for business.
Seeing no objection to the motion, Representatives Hamner, who will serve as chairwoman, Pabon, and Buck will notify the governor that the House is organized and ready for business. At this time, the committees to notify the Senate and the governor will be excused to proceed to the Senate and to the office of the governor. The House will be in recess until the House committees return. Members, a committee from the Senate consisting of Senators Gardner, Hill, and Garcia has arrived to notify the House that the Senate is ready for business. Come on down, Senators. I must say, I'm impressed. You guys are moving quickly this morning. The House recognizes Senator Gardner for that purpose.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. There is a tradition in this chamber that has been lost of bobbing things, and I will not do that this morning, but rather simply report that the Senate has directed us to advise you that we are organized and ready to do business, and that is an edict of the Senate that we are, in fact, organized and ready to do business.
Any further comments? Senator Hill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, there's also a tradition that Colorado is a very purple state, and we have a lot of work to do together across the aisle, across the political spectrum. Representative Pedersen, it's always an honor to serve with you on education. It's an honor to serve with the rest of you. So 2018 is going to be a phenomenal year.
Senator Garcia.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I, too, want to echo the sentiment of Senator Hill in that we stand ready to work with you. It's nice to see you've made some improvements, and Senator Gardner and I were once here, so it looks pretty good.
All right, the House will come back to order. Representative Pedersen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We notified the Senate that we are ready for business and encourage them to keep up the pace this year.
I know there's no objection to that in this chamber. Representative Lundin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We did notify them we were organized, in order, and ready to do business. They deliberated, and they deliberated, and they deliberated. Ultimately, they acknowledged our comments. Toto, I love the house. I love the house. I love the house. What is it with the wall color in there?
Representative Salazar.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think I learned what the talent of the Senate is. We walked in and the chamber was completely quiet, and I realized that they have mastered the art of sleeping with their eyes open. Madam Speaker, you may want to appoint a second committee in the next 15 minutes, because I think that's when their nap time is over with, and we might get more attention from them at that point. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Pedersen and the entire committee. It is obvious that we are ready to go. The House will be in recess until the committee to notify the governor has returned. House will come back to order. I see that our committee to notify the governor has returned. Representative Hamner.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker, and good morning, colleagues. The committee to alert the governor that the House was ready for business and is in order was met by the Lieutenant Governor and the governor's staff. The governor is actually en route back to the Capitol and looks forward to addressing all of us tomorrow. He also is very excited, according to the Lieutenant Governor, to work with all of us in the next 120 days to find good solutions to complex issues.
All right, Representative Buck.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And the Lieutenant Governor also told us Happy New Year and best wishes on the next 120 days as we have our work cut out for us.
All right, Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So we did a call for the governor, kind of a quacking type of lame duck type of call, and there was no response. Apparently, the lame duck is a very rare breed. So much so that we could not find the actual governor in his office, but we did do many duck calls for him and couldn't find him. I'm also a lame duck too, so you can make those kind of jokes. But we did have a nice conversation and many riveting jokes that can't be repeated here with the Lieutenant Governor and many of our staff. And I think the bottom line is the first floor is ready to get to work, and so are we.
All right. Thank you, Representative Hamner and committee. The House and Senate are ready to begin our service to the state of Colorado. Introduction of resolution. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House HJR 18-1001.
House Joint Resolution 1001, Representative K.L. Senator Holbert, concerning a joint session of the Colorado House of Representatives and the Senate for the purpose of hearing a message from His Excellency Governor John Hickenlooper and appointing a committee to escort the governor.
Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the rules be suspended and HJR 18-1001 be given immediate consideration.
The motion is to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of HJR 18-1001. If there is no objection, we will proceed with a voice vote on this motion and on the following motion. All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying no. The motion passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that HJR 18-1001 be adopted. This is the resolution that sets the date and time of the joint session for the Governor's State of the State Address.
The motion is for the adoption of HJR 18-1001. All of those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no. The resolution is adopted. Pursuant to the resolution, Representatives Lee, Winter, and Rankin will serve as a committee to escort the governor for the State of the State Address. We are now going to appointments to committees. There are a number of changes in the membership of committees. Mr. Randall, please read the complete list of appointments to committees.
House Committees. Committee on Agriculture, Livestock, and Natural Resources, 13 members. Representatives Arndt, Chair. Escar, Vice Chair. Becker J., Buck, Catlin, Danielson, Hansen, Jackson, Lewis, McKean, Sane, Roberts, Valdez. Committee on Appropriations, 13 members. Representatives Young, Chair. Hamner, Vice Chair. Becker J., Beckman, Danielson, Everett, Garnett, Hansen, Kraft-Tharp, Neville, Pabon, Rankin, Winter. Committee on Business Affairs and Labor, 13 members. Representative Kraft-Tharp, Chair. Winter, Vice Chair. Arndt, Coleman, Garnett, Gray, Liston, Rosenthal, Sias, Thurlow, Van Winkle, Williams, 1 vacancy. Committee on Education, 13 members. Representatives Pedersen, Chair. Buckner, Vice Chair. Bridges, Everett, Exum, Garnett, Lee, Leonard, Lundeen, McLaughlin, Ryer, Sias, Wilson. Committee on Finance, 13 members. Representatives Pabon, Chair. Foote, Vice Chair. Beckman, Benavides, Covarrubias, Gray, Harrod, Kennedy, Lawrence, Michelson-Janae, Thurlow, Van Winkle, 1 vacancy. Committee on Health Insurance and Environment, 13 members. Representatives Janal, Chair, Escar, Vice Chair, Beckman, Buckner, Covarrubias, Humphrey, Jackson, Kennedy, Landgraf, Lontine, Roberts, Ransom, Wilson. Committee on Judiciary, 11 members. Representatives Lee, Chair, Salazar, Vice Chair, Benavides, Carver, Foote, Herod, Lundin, Melton, Weissman, Willett, Wist. Committee on Local Government, 13 members. Representatives Singer, Chair, Exum, Vice Chair, Coleman, Gray, Lebsock, Liston, McKean, Ransom, Ryer, Rosenthal, Thurlow, Valdez, Wilson. Committee on Public Health and Human Services, 13 members. Representatives Singer, Chair, Danielson, Vice Chair, Beckman, Catlin, Everett, Janal, Hooten, Landgraf, McKean, Michelson-Janae, Pabon, Pedersen, Ransom. Committee on State, Veterans, and Military Affairs, 9 members. Representatives Foote, Chair, Lontine, Vice Chair, Benavides, Hooten, Humphrey, Leonard, Melton, Weissman, Williams. Committee on Transportation and Energy, 13 members. Representatives Winter, Chair, McLaughlin, Vice Chair, Becker J, Bridges, Buck, Carver, Escar, Janal, Hanson, Jackson, Lawrence, Lewis, Roberts. Committee on House Services, 4 members. Representatives Buckner, Chair, Escar, McKean, Sane.
Thank you, Mr. Randall. At this time, Minority Leader Neville and I will speak about our agendas for the upcoming legislative session. Good morning, and thank you, and welcome to the second regular session of the 71st General Assembly. 2018 is shaping up as another great year for Colorado. Our overall economy continues to grow, and our unemployment rate continues to be one of the lowest in the nation. We continue to attract new jobs, new businesses, and new events. Later this month, for the first time, we'll host the Outdoor Retailer Show, one of many tangible rewards for our forward-thinking conservation policies and commitment to public lands. It should be a point of pride for all Coloradans, especially our military veterans, that the Navy's newest attack submarine to be commissioned in March is the USS Colorado. But the best news for our veterans is that barring further federal delays, our new state-of-the-art VA hospital in Aurora will finally open this summer. Members, we are gathered here because we believe in service and the ability to make positive change and the power of working together to solve complex problems. And because we love Colorado and what it stands for. Opportunity for all who show responsibility through hard work. A strong sense of community where people are valued not for their wealth or their connections, but for what they do for others. A spirit of cooperation and inclusiveness. And of course, our spectacular vistas and open spaces. From the golden dome of this building, we can see 3 14ers and one of the most vibrant economies in America. So many people are moving here for the mix of sunshine, scenic beauty, and economic opportunity that we call the Colorado way of life. Our task over the next 120 days is to preserve and enhance our Colorado way of life, which is so different from the discord and dysfunction emanating from Washington, D.C. Coloradans are counting on us to stand strong, to be productive, to defy the unsettling trends we've seen elsewhere in America. The eyes of Colorado will be on us, including some special guests who have come to the chamber this morning. The first Latino Speaker of the Colorado House, Ruben Valdez. The first Latina to serve in the House and Senate of any state legislature, Polly Baca. The youngest city councilwoman and a rising star and young Latina, Crystal Murillo from Aurora. Denver District Attorney and former Representative Beth McCann. Former Representatives Fran Coleman and Roger Wilson. Aurora City Councilwoman Allison Hiltz, who also interned in my office. The Honorable Ramona Martinez. The Honorable Max Tyler. And these last three, I'm going to ask, actually these last couple of folks, I'm going to ask you to stand at once. The Honorable Rosemary Marshall, Sue Schaefer, Monica Duran, Rochelle Galindo. Thank you for being here. And last but definitely not least, Lieutenant Governor Gail Shetler. We also welcome two new members, Representative Dylan Roberts of Eagle County and Representative Judy Ryer of Otero County. Representative Roberts is now the youngest member of the General Assembly, part of a new generation of leaders. And if he is a glimpse of the future, our future is bright. The two of you have joined a group of legislators who have shown that through respectful dialogue and inclusiveness, we can turn our wide range of experiences and perspectives into policy that truly benefits the people of our state. We can point with pride to what we achieved for Coloradans in the 2017 session, which was widely acclaimed as the most productive in recent memory. We proved that we don't just talk about not being like Washington, D.C. We proved by our actions that here in Colorado, we can work together to get things done. After years of effort, we made a bipartisan breakthrough on a budget restructure called the Hospital Provider Fee. Fixing it saved hospitals around the state from more than $500 million in budget cuts. Those cuts would have impacted every hospital in the state and would have been fatal to some of our smaller hospitals in rural areas of Colorado. Last session, I visited Lincoln Community Hospital in the Eastern Plains town of Hugo, and I saw firsthand how essential our rural hospitals are. They are the nursing home, family clinic, ambulance service, and sometimes hospice care for their communities. Rural hospitals saved Edward Humphrey. Aside from serving in the Korean War, Ed has lived on the Eastern Plains all of his life. He met his wife, Barbara, when he was a hired hand threshing corn for Barbara's grandparents. He went on to work as a Colorado brand inspector for 2 decades. Last Friday, they celebrated their 67th wedding anniversary. If not for Lincoln Community Hospital, Ed might not have been around to mark 2/3 of a century of marriage. In 2016, he experienced life-threatening complications following surgery. But the doctors at Lincoln Community pulled him through. Barbara Humphrey said, "I can breathe easier knowing that Lincoln Community Hospital is open and remains open." Because of the budget restructure, Lincoln Community Hospital continues to save lives every day. Barbara Humphrey is here with us today, joined by Kevin Stansbury, President and CEO of Lincoln Community Hospital. Also with us is Connie Martin, CEO of San Luis Valley Health in Alamosa. And this bipartisan solution would not have been possible without the support from Governor Hickenlooper. And I also see that our Lieutenant Governor, Donna Lynn, is here as well. Connie and Kevin are from rural hospitals that would have been jeopardized by that $500 million in budget cuts. Working together for families like the Humphreys, we prevented that. To Connie and Kevin and to all our rural hospitals across the state, thank you for the lives you save and for the rural way of life that your care helps to preserve. The same bill that saved rural hospitals freed up an additional $100 million that are being used to leverage $1.9 billion in new transportation projects around the state. From Johnstown to the Four Corners, from Rifle to Pueblo, you see investments in transportation infrastructure from this important bill. Some of the most significant improvements will be felt on our interstate highways. Our bipartisan legislation allows us to fund projects to relieve pressure on I-25 and I-70, as well as many other locally controlled projects. Mike Hillman is mayor of Idaho Springs, one of many Colorado communities where I-70 is a lifeline. He knows the importance of mobility to commerce, to law enforcement, to emergency services, and to our Colorado way of life. He knows that a single pothole on Floyd Hill can hurt sales in Idaho Springs. In fact, it happened just a couple of weeks ago. Mayor Hillman has seen the effects of improvements to I-70, and he is looking forward to more projects funded by the hospital provider fee fix. Mayor Hillman, thank you for joining us today. In 2017, we also resolved a thorny issue that we hope will help address our housing needs by spurring more condo development. Our bipartisan legislation will help Colorado homeowners make informed decisions about construction defect claims while ensuring their ability to protect what for most of them is their single biggest investment, their homes. Our goal is to restore some balance to the real estate market and ease a housing crunch that has made home ownership unattainable for too many Coloradans. The bill passed the General Assembly by a combined vote of 97-0. For what we can achieve when we check our egos at the door, roll up our sleeves, and hammer out bipartisan solutions to problems facing Coloradans. I can think of no finer example than construction defects. Well, maybe except equity in school funding. Because of our work together last year, Colorado is the first state in the nation to fully address equitable local funding for all public school students. In the 2018 session and beyond, we must continue striving to eradicate the race and income-related disparities that continue to exist in Colorado's schools. The legislation we passed in 2017 prioritizes funding for Colorado kids who have been historically underserved, regardless of the type of school they attend. It strikes a balance that maintains local control for school districts, ensures that funding is allocated based on student need, and creates greater transparency and accountability for charter schools. Hospital funding, transportation investment, construction defects, and school funding equity. These are issues that had vexed this legislature for decades. Tearing down roadblocks on these issues gave us some powerful momentum heading into the interim. But today, we start this session with a different set of obstacles. The most disturbing are the allegations of workplace harassment that we have seen that is swept across the country, reaching into the entertainment industry, news organizations, Congress, and more than a dozen state legislatures, including ours. We must confront these issues head-on and successfully reform the culture of the Capitol. There is no place for harassment, hate speech, or discrimination in this chamber. As we begin to make changes here at the Capitol, each and every member of this body has a personal responsibility to do our part to create a safe and respectful workplace for all. We must also reauthorize the Colorado Civil Rights Division, which protects Coloradans' freedom from discrimination based on age, race, gender, sexual orientation, disability, pregnancy, religion, and ancestry. And we can't stop there. The time for cultural change is now. There should be no double standard requiring women and people from underrepresented communities to feel that they have to work twice as hard and be twice as smart to make partner at their law firm, climb the corporate ladder, or succeed in public office. And it is not lost on me that there are women in restaurants and hotels, immigrants in meatpacking plants, and workers in factories who feel they must endure inappropriate behavior just to survive and feed their families. Throughout my life in the legislature, I have worked to encourage more women and people from underrepresented communities to enter public service. This work will be for naught unless we promote work environments where the arc of your career is determined by your hard work, qualifications, merit, and skill. The hurdles of harassment and discrimination faced by women, people of color, and people with disabilities should have been leveled a long time ago. But it is crystal clear that these challenges persist today. People in our country are speaking out like never before about harassment, sexism, and discrimination. Let our actions show that the intolerable will be tolerated no more. On this and many other topics, it is imperative that we do the job we were sent here to do, and that is to solve problems for Coloradans. We have plenty of opportunities and plenty of challenges. Members, Colorado's population is growing by more than 180 people per day. Some of the legislation we've passed in recent years has helped us absorb this influx. We have promoted economic development and workforce development programs so that more Coloradans have the education and training they need to get the high-skill, high-tech jobs that our economy is now producing in great numbers. Colorado overall has one of the strongest state economies in America, and that's wonderful because it means lots of opportunities for people in our state. But there are some downsides. Wages aren't rising as fast as the overall economy, and the economy isn't booming in every community in the state. Many areas of rural and small-town Colorado are treading water or even drowning, and we need to ensure that communities outside the Front Range have the tools to compete in a global economy by providing more broadband service, more teachers, and more medical services, just for starters. And because getting to and from work shouldn't be the hardest of Colorado's daily routine, we have to repair and improve our overburdened roads and expand our transportation options to keep up with our growing population and economy. Forecasts for the next budget indicate that state revenue is substantially exceeding previous estimates, giving us the ability to make new investments in key statewide priorities. Let me be clear. Transportation funding is a priority. And our Colorado students are also a priority. We will have the opportunity to address chronically low funding for K-12 and higher education. During this session, we will be reviewing every part of the state budget to assure that it balances the priorities and needs of the people of Colorado. Growth has also driven up the cost of housing in many areas of Colorado. The American dream includes being able to own a home. For more and more middle-income Coloradans, and not just in the Denver area, homeownership is out of reach. Many people feel like they are being pushed out of the very communities that they grew up in. And rent increases make it harder and harder to make ends meet. We need to take action to make renting more affordable and homeownership more attainable for Coloradans. As we work As we work together this session, we will also hear bipartisan proposals to allow more judicial discretion in criminal sentencing and to make evidence-based reforms that would make our criminal justice system more effective and save taxpayer dollars while promoting public safety. And to confront an opioid epidemic raging across Colorado and the nation, we are bringing a package of bills to improve training for safe opioid prescribing and overdose prevention and increase access to residential and medication-assisted treatment so that people who are struggling with substance use disorders have more tools to fight their addiction. Lawmakers and public health officials, first responders, and law enforcement will help us to defeat the opioid addiction. And make no mistake, the pharmaceutical companies that developed these wildly addictive and highly profitable drugs need to be part of the solution as well. No family is immune to addiction, including my own. In November, I lost my cousin Juan at the young age of 40. He was only 3 years older than me. He was smart and thoughtful, and he loved to laugh and joke around. Some of my favorite memories are of camping with him or fishing together on my grandfather's boat on the Pueblo Reservoir. But for much of his life, he struggled with substance abuse, alcohol, and opioids. Families across Colorado, including in this chamber, have heartbreaking stories of friends and relatives who have suffered from addiction. My thoughts and prayers are very much with all who have been touched by this epidemic. It is our responsibility to come together to tackle this issue. Members, please be seated. Hardworking Coloradans deserve a secure retirement, but almost half of Coloradans have no employer-sponsored or personal retirement plan. We will see a bill this session to increase access to retirement plans for our friends and neighbors who have none. A secure retirement must also be attainable for the 560,000 current or retired public servants, teachers who have taught us and our children, state troopers who have patrolled our highways, and CDOT drivers who have plowed them, all those who have delivered essential services to the people of our state. Steps must be taken to strengthen PARA, the state pension fund, to ensure that we honor the commitment we've made to our state and public sector employees. But it would be unfair to balance PARA solely on the backs of hardworking public servants. Likewise, slashing cost of living adjustments for retired state employees could put many of them deeper in the hole every time the cost of living rises. Our goals must include a para solution that ensures its long-term solvency while being fair to current employees and retirees. And we'll also consider a variety of proposals to help Coloradans balance the responsibilities of their work and their families. We can increase access to affordable childcare so fewer Colorado moms and dads are forced to choose between keeping a job or staying at home. This isn't just an issue for families. It's an issue that impacts our entire economy. We can improve family leave laws so more Coloradans can take paid time off to care for a sick parent or loved one without having to quit their jobs or risk being fired. We can also address the high cost of health care, especially in rural areas of Colorado, where premiums are through the roof. And we can provide additional protections to Colorado consumers. For example, because corporations dictate the fine print, Coloradans sign away their rights almost every time they buy a product or service. When something goes wrong, irresponsible corporations need to be held accountable, and consumers deserve fair processes that are not tilted against them. Our legislative compass points us in one direction: preserving and enhancing our esteemed Colorado way of life. Our state is blessed with the most beautiful natural environment in America. But we must strive to have a government that works for everyone who works hard, not just the deep-pocketed and the well-connected. A government that creates more opportunities for Coloradans to turn their hard work into economic security. Members, our contribution to the greater good will increase every time we move toward giving all Coloradans who work hard the best possible chance to succeed. Our solutions must be based not on party or politics, but on what will get Coloradans closer to achieving their dreams. Now is not the time to rest on the triumphs of our 2017 session. We have plenty more work to do on behalf of the Coloradans who sent us here. We live in uncertain times. Sometimes it feels like our country is being pulled apart and that the very worst is bubbling up through the cracks. But not in Colorado, and not in this chamber, where we must be a barrier to the forces of division. We have always had our disagreements, and sometimes we cannot reconcile them. But most of the time, we find our way to that most essential of Colorado values: setting our differences aside to make real progress. In those moments, we find the best in ourselves by living up to what's best about our state. There is still more that binds us together than will ever divide us. That's what we did last year, and I know it is what we will do again this year. It has been the honor of my life to serve as the first Latina Speaker of the House in Colorado and the only one in the country. And I am excited to resume our quest to make our Colorado way of life even richer in opportunity, fairer in how it rewards hard work, steadfast in demanding personal and corporate responsibility, and generous in fostering the freedom to succeed. God bless our home, Colorado and its people. And members, let us never forget that we are their servants. Thank you. Minority Leader Neville.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I apologize. I forgot it was opening day. I just thought I was here to celebrate Representative Lawrence's birthday. I'm sure that's why Representative Klingenschmidt and Representative Summers have joined us here today as well, so congratulate them. Well, members, Madam Speaker, Madam Majority Leader, esteemed colleagues, and honored guests, welcome to the second regular session of the 71st General Assembly. I'd like to congratulate our newest members, Representatives Ryer and Representatives Roberts. Welcome to the pit, the chamber. To the chamber, dilly dilly. I believe I can speak for everyone in this room when I say that serving in the legislature is truly a unique experience. We look forward to working with you. I would also like to take a moment to recognize the family and friends whose support is so valuable to us all. As members, we are well aware of the personal sacrifice of time and energy this job requires, but our families also make sacrifices to support us and enable us to be successful. I want to personally thank my wife, Christy, my daughters, Mary Caitlin, Hannah, and Lydia. I could not do this without you. I would not do this without you. Madam Speaker, Madam Majority Leader, if you think I'm difficult to deal with, just remember my wife has been doing it since high school. Let's give another round of applause for the family members here in attendance. I want to take a moment to thank the other members of the Executive Committee for their work to revise the Capitol's sexual harassment policies. The state capitol has always been a distinguished place to work, and it should be a welcoming and safe place for everyone. I perfectly understand and share a sense of outrage when we hear stories of bad behavior, but when accusations appear where the law is made, we must observe due process so that we fairly and objectively handle complaints and workplace issues. The new policies we have adopted and the additional HR resources we are providing will help ensure future issues are handled properly. My door is always open to anyone who might want to report an issue that makes working here problematic. House sessions during election years are always more politically charged than off-year sessions. It's especially true this year given the high-profile statewide elections and many candidates for those offices here today. I know several of you in this room are vying for positions that will influence the direction of our state as a whole. That said, and knowing how strongly I feel about serving Colorado, I think this is the best time to announce that I too am throwing my name in for more road funding and government efficiency. In all seriousness, the citizens of Colorado have elected us to solve various problems facing our state. And while we all know politics plays a role in the process, for the next 120 days, our job is to focus on legislation to improve the lives of our citizens of our state. When we work together, as we did hundreds of times last year, we can meet that goal in spite of our political differences. I read an interesting story the other day. The backdrop of the story involved the number of people coming to Colorado. Who can blame them? But the story itself was about the large number of people leaving Colorado. Because Colorado is no longer affordable. Leaving because they see the hours of their lives wasted in traffic. Leaving because the cost of home, auto, and health insurance have soared. Leaving because all the beauty and adventure they came here to enjoy has been tainted by rising prices and stress. These issues are no different for those of us who've spent our whole lives here. We want to make Colorado affordable. We want to make Colorado affordable and enjoyable by the actions we take as legislators this session when it comes to prioritizing funding for cleaner, safer roads and bridges. Lowering the regulatory barriers that businesses, and especially new businesses, encounter. Enabling students and teachers to find success in education, and legalizing affordable health insurance plans and providing consumer choice. And we aim to do this while ensuring our human right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness continues to be recognized. It costs a lot to live here, and costs have gone up. Having grown up on the Front Range, started a family, worked in a small business, I've witnessed with some dismay the rapid increase in the cost of living in Colorado. I'm sure all of you can attest to this as well. During the interim, Assistant Minority Wist and I, along with other members, toured many parts of Colorado and took time to learn about some of the issues contributing to higher costs. For example, we visited the Colorado National Speedway in Dacono and heard the new mandates and regulations are threatening the low-cost entertainment that thousands of families have enjoyed. Elsewhere, we heard from rural communities that are concerned about the lack of new housing and infrastructure. While visiting a visionary healthcare provider in Pueblo, we learned about a state computer program that is delaying critical Medicaid reimbursement payments to hospitals and providers. A recent study I saw found that a first-year teacher can no longer afford to rent even a one-bedroom apartment in 4 of the largest districts in our state. The cost to buy or rent a home has increased by more than 100% over the last 10 years. The costs of auto, home, and health insurance have increased exponentially, and the increasing cost of doing business is typically passed to the consumer. The drip, drip, drip of paying for basic needs is draining people of the optimism and hope that should be natural to residents of this great state. I raise these points because many of the laws we will debate this session could directly impact Colorado's affordability. Government programs bring with them the baggage of unintended consequences. Just as it's possible for a person to bleed to death from 1,000 small cuts, so it's possible for a state to become unaffordable by 1,000 small regulations. At a time when our national economy is beginning to gain momentum and return to health, we must be very careful about adding new regulatory and legal burdens to our citizens. Instead, we should work together to make our state affordable again. In this, we have a choice to make. As Assistant Leader Wist and I traveled this summer, we were regularly asked about the poor shape of our roads, the lack of lane miles, and the lack of funding for Colorado's aging infrastructure. My response was as simple then as it is today. We have enough money to fix our problems. We don't have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem. A few weeks ago, the revenue forecast indicated we will have almost $1 billion more revenue than expected fiscal year 2018-19. There is no reason why nearly all of this new revenue should not go to widening highways, adding lane miles throughout the state, and rebuilding traditional infrastructure. We believe we can build newer, safer roads and bridges without raising taxes. If we can fix a problem that will make Colorado more affordable and more enjoyable place to live, why not do that? Why make Colorado even less affordable by imposing a new tax for transportation? And while I'm on the topic of transportation, let me clarify something for those listening. In the past, when we used the word transportation, we understood, and most people understood, the word meant roads and bridges. Most Coloradans say better roads should be a top priority for the legislature. And when they hear us talking about transportation, they assume we're talking about roads. Unfortunately, that assumption is no longer true. As of last year, transportation doesn't mean simply roads and bridges. Instead, it now means state tax dollars for buses, light rail, heavier rail, bike paths, and special lanes for pogo sticks and the like. The point is, I now use the phrase roads and bridges because I want voters to know what I mean. Members of our caucus will be carrying a bill that will fix roads without raising taxes. It will be a perfect opportunity to show our constituencies exactly where roads rank as a priority. I can tell you right now, roads are my top priority. Is it yours? I know some of you may doubt we can prioritize existing revenue for roads. Some may ask, what are we willing to cut? But members, this is not Washington, D.C. And decreasing the governor's proposed increase is not a cut. To everyone listening, we can fix our roads and fund essential state services with existing revenue. Members, the governor's budget proposal is over $1.09 billion larger than last year and $10 billion larger than 2009 when Governor Hickenlooper first took office. And we've just come into an additional $1 billion in revenue. My question to the members in this room who think we need more from the taxpayer is this: how much is enough? Recent news reports suggest that my colleagues across the aisle are already looking for the many unmet needs in our state. As the saying goes, when all you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. And when you're committed to bigger and bigger government, every problem calls for more taxes, programs, and spending. But if you think like me, we don't need more revenue. We need more restraint. We need common sense when it comes to how we spend taxpayer money. In this, we certainly have a choice to make. Concerning education, not only are we obliged by the state constitution to pass a balanced budget every year, we're also required to provide money for public education. And the fact is, we've provided a lot. Over the past 12 years, total spending has gone from $3.8 billion a year to $5.6 billion a year, an increase of 45%. General fund on K through 12 education has gone from $2.9 a year to $4.1 billion, an increase of 42%. Even factoring in inflation, we're spending 24% more money than we were a dozen years ago. And what are we getting for the money? We've spent a great fortune on K through 12 education, but we haven't gotten a great result. The time has come for us to have an open mind to new approaches to education. Instead of spending that fortune to empower bureaucracies, why don't we try to empower students and parents? One of the biggest accomplishments from last session was the establishing the equity funding for charter schools. I want to thank all of the members who helped craft that law. We will work with Democrats on any bill that offers real hope for educational success, because nobody wins when children lose. We can do better, and in this, we have a choice to make. In the land of the free and the home of the brave, there's a deep well of compassion for those who may have fallen on hard times. At present, taxpayers in this state, along with other American taxpayers, make a gift worth several $1,000s a year available to these people in the form of Medicaid. We don't begrudge them for our help. Yet, while it is free or nearly free to recipients, it isn't cheap. In fiscal year 2004-2005, we spent $3 billion on health care. In fiscal year 2016-17, just a dozen years later, we spent $9 billion, a 300% increase. General fund spending on health care increased 111% in that period. Today, just over a quarter of the people in our state are on Medicaid. Since 2008-2009, that figure has risen 220%. But studies demonstrate that Medicaid is not a particularly efficient or effective way to distribute health care. To be sure, the most significant changes to the system must happen in Washington. But it is our goal, our ambition, to ensure those who need Medicaid get it, while we also ensure that it is reserved for the truly needy. Our hope is that as the economy grows and good jobs become more plentiful, people will get health care at work, or that we, as a legislature, work to legalize affordable health insurance plans that citizens can freely select. Improving the system means progress in the quest to make Colorado more affordable. In the wake of recent tragedies in our nation, some people have renewed their demands for stricter gun control. Members, gun control becomes the focus because guns are the tools evil people have used to commit atrocities. But guns are simply that, a tool. And just as they can be used for evil, they are tools in the hands of good people to defend themselves. New laws will not prevent evil people from acquiring guns, nor will they prevent further crimes against the innocent. Rather, they will rob the innocent of the ability to defend themselves and their families. This session, I urge you to not accept the misguided dogma that gun controls will stop mass killings. For those who disagree, let me share an experience that demonstrates this dark reality. As a veteran who served in Iraq, I can tell you the frequency of mass killings during my time there was shocking. We fought an enemy that valued no life, sought to harm and destroy by any means possible. Sadly, no amount of gun control would have saved lives. What evil lacked in guns, it made up for in other forms of destruction. It was evil, finding any way available to hurt society. That evil exists everywhere, sadly even in our own communities. We need to ensure our citizens have every means possible to fight back and protect innocent life. Members, our constitutional rights are what define this nation and our state. We have the right to free speech, the right to freely exercise our religion, but above all, we have the right to life. Without it, liberty and the pursuit of happiness are empty slogans. The American people are increasingly pro-life, in no small measure because of the science that enables us to watch the development of the unborn. This issue of life shouldn't be political, but until it's not, I'll work to defend the right to life for the youngest and the oldest amongst us. Another element in our drive to make Colorado more affordable is changes we'll propose to the budget process we use here at the Capitol. Our current process allows each chamber less than a week to complete the most constitutionally important task of the session. We are the only state that compiles a budget this way. And while it might have been the right approach at one time, we believe it is time to reevaluate the process. Our friends, my friends on the other side of the aisle, will undoubtedly be happy to know the changes we're proposing are totally nonpartisan in nature, and I actually say that seriously. We've already had several helpful discussions along these lines, and I won't go into great detail here, but suffice it to say the details rest on two basic and related principles. We believe that the 6 members of the Joint Budget Committee are in many ways model legislators. Representatives Rankin, Hamner, and Young devote significant time to the job. All of us here recognize that for them, public service translates into personal sacrifice as they labor hours, untold hours, to help us all. But our over-reliance on the few is robbing us of the wisdom of the many. We would like to see more people involved in the process. We would also like to plan ahead and require forecasts from each department. No major expense or upgrade should be a surprise to us. We should know years in advance. I look forward to more conversations with all of you on this topic. Members, this session we have a choice to make. Are we going to choose to let our state government continue to expand at the expense of industry, commerce, and liberty? Or are we going to look for ways to help lower the cost of doing business here in Colorado? Let the free market inspire more innovation and find ways to make Colorado affordable again. Do we move forward with policies and oversight that will make Colorado more affordable, or do we simply advocate for higher taxes and more spending? Will we plant fiscal bombs into our budget in the form of costly new programs that will burden us and our children for decades and put the state on the road to bankruptcy and chaos already forged by states like California and Illinois? We've tried the bigger government approach, and it doesn't work. It creates more inequality, more dependence, and more social division. Will we choose to prioritize funding to make a significant step towards safer, cleaner roads and bridges? Or will we ask for higher taxes and fees to fund mass transit that cannot even pay for itself? Members, we proved last session that we can put our differences aside and work together and get things done for the people of our great state. Let's build on that progress and make this another successful year for the people of Colorado. Thank you, and God bless.
All right, let's get to it. Thank you, Minority Leader Neville. Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. All right, with that, I move that the remarks of the Speaker and the Minority Leader be printed in the House Journal.
If there is no objection, the remarks of the Speaker and Minority Leader will be printed in the Journal. Are there any further announcements or introductions at this time? Representative Hamner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And as you heard the Minority Leader announce, we do have a birthday today. And I know, well, he said it, and I knew it. And just for a reminder, and also for our new members, we do take the opportunity to bring the Capitol Choir down to the well. And if you have always aspired to be a member of the Capitol Choir, and we're always hesitant to be out in front of everybody speaking to the public and singing to the public, now is your chance to do that. And the reason we do this is, as we've heard, we make a lot of sacrifices to serve the people who, well, my goodness, this choir is getting huge. And so we take this opportunity to recognize members' birthdays that fall during the legislative session, right? And so today, the beautiful Representative Lawrence is celebrating her birthday, and so we are going to serenade you, and it's going to be so pretty. Are we ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Representative Lawrence. Happy birthday to you. Oh, that was nice. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Representative Lawrence. Representative Liston.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and choir, that was a job well done. I even participated there, and I'm not very good at singing at all. Members, first of all, welcome to everybody. Some of you are probably wondering, well, what is this little thing here on your desk? And I am here for the members that have been around. You've maybe been to this, but for the new members and the members that maybe haven't made it in the past, you know, we've got a lot of work ahead of us, but tonight is we're all invited and your guests to a nice celebration courtesy of the Colorado Restaurant Association for their annual gala and reception for legislators at the Colorado History Museum. I'm sure many of you have been there. It's tonight starting at 6 o'clock. And I encourage you to attend. I think you can each bring a guest. It's always a good time, and I guess you can even bring this and whatever use it is. So we'll see you there tonight, 6 o'clock at the Colorado History Museum. It'll be a good time, a great opportunity to get better acquainted with people on both sides of the aisle, so I encourage you to attend. Thank you, Madam Speaker. We'll see you there tonight.
All right. Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's an honor to serve with you in this chamber once again.
It is an honor to serve with you as well.
Also, just as a footnote, it's good to know that those of us who have birthdays when we're not in session don't get older. I need to make two announcements today. One, I love you all, and I'm glad to see you all again. It's really, really fun, but I want you to know it was doubly tough for me to come back this year. Number one, I had to leave Christy at home again, and those of you that know her know why. And second of all, I had to leave Remy behind, who will be 2 in February. She really misses her DuPont, and I miss her, so the best way to keep me from being depressed this year is to vote for my bills. My second announcement is going to cost you. It's National Western Time in Denver, Colorado, in case you didn't know that. Last year, the Colorado State Legislature, that's all 100 of us, purchased a Colorado steer for $10,000. $10,000, okay? Being the math wizard that I am, that's about $100 a person. We have two challenges. Last year in this chamber, the right side of the aisle outraised the left side of the aisle. But Representative Arndt has assured me that's not going to happen this year. Our other challenge is to outraise the Senate. I understand that Senator Sonnenberg has threatened his colleagues that they will replace their lazy boy recliners with metal folding chairs from the House chamber if they don't outraise us this year. So how about we get rid of these beautiful folding chairs this year and outraise the Senate? What do you think, Representative Arndt?
That should be easy.
Also, you need to know, if Representative Arndt can support the National Western by participating in the goat roping, seriously, she did it. Surely we can raise enough money to buy a Colorado steer from the National Western. So you will be hearing from us in the next few days. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, members. Representative Herod.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I just wanted to make one quick announcement. Let me move this down a little bit and acknowledge my mentor of over 10 years, former State Representative Rosemary Marshall, former representative for House District 8. When she served, she was the only African-American female serving, and it was my honor to be her
aide, actually, in this building. So for all of you aides that are here, there is hope for you yet. It was my honor to be her aide, and now my honor to be serving in House District 8 and to continue to have her as my mentor and to follow in her leadership. So Representative Marshall, thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to be here with you.
Representative Escar.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is an honor to serve with you.
It is an honor to serve with you as well.
Thank you, and I hate coming up after such a glorious introduction with actual business, but Capital Development Committee, we will be meeting tomorrow morning at 8:15. Anybody who's interested, feel free to join us in Senate Committee Room 357.
Any further announcements or introductions? Members, thank you so much for your attention this morning. And we had several elected officials with us, and we tried to name all of them in the opening day speech. But I would like to ask all elected officials, not in this chamber, but previous elected folks who currently serve on city council, please do stand. And I want to make sure that we recognize everybody that was here today. Thank you so much for your service to Colorado. Assistant Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have one quick announcement. My wife, Emily, is expecting another baby in July. She's right there. So Ashton will be a big brother. I just wanted to make sure I told everyone on day one. So.
Congratulations. Representative Arts.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Members, I'd just like to announce 3 elected officials from Fort Collins that we have in the House today. We had Representative Larry Summers, who now serves for us on our City Council. Thank you so much, Representative Summers. Ken Summers. Why did I say Larry? Ken, pardon me. And we also have 2 members of the school board. Up here we have Director Kipp and Director Gutowski. So thank you very much, Fort Collins, for coming. And pardon me.
All right. Any further announcements or introductions? And we're going to wait to introduce bills until later this afternoon. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will introduce my mayor, Mayor Hillman from Idaho Springs, one of my mayors. Just a quick hello to Mayor Hillman. And then with that, Madam Speaker, I move that the House stand in recess till noon. Members, there's no need for you all to come back to the chamber. After introducing bills, the Speaker will adjourn the House until tomorrow at 9 a.m. So you come back tomorrow at 9 a.m. unless you want to listen to the introduction of bills.
All right. Thank you, Madam Majority Leader Becker. If there's no objection, the House will be in recess until noon.